Hey everybody, my name is Price, and I am joined once again by Rick, and this is Civ V Basics, where we try and teach you guys how to play Civ and get you past that point of it being a terrifying game. So, when we last left off, we had just completed a granary, which suddenly changed the food yield that we were producing for several of our tiles, specifically this wheat tile over here, and so that's going to help us to grow. So Rick, why don't you tell us a little bit more about food?
Yes, food. It's what helps the city grow. You're not going to get a population without food. People are going to starve to death. That's bad news. Okay, so basically every citizen requires 2 food. Okay, so if you were once you found your city, you've got 1 population. You need 2 food to sustain that. 3 food, and then you're going to have a growing city. Anything over that 2 food is going to just help your city grow. So if you want a fast growing city, you want a city that's producing a lot of food, and the food is represented by the apples. So why don't you go ahead and open up the yield icons there?
Yeah, I've got the yield icons showing.
Okay, so you can see that the wheat there, that wheat tile, that's producing 3 food. The marble tile producing 2 food. These are bonus food tiles. 1 food, 1 food, 1 food, 1 food, 1 food. So we've got plenty of food to help the city grow. Later on, you're going to get some buildings that are going to help give a bonus to food production. So the granary is a great example of that. Let me open up my tech tree real quick so I can talk about the granary.
Mm-hmm. And I can click on the city and I can actually show them the granary tooltip there.
So the granary gives you +2 food, okay? Mm-hmm. So that's a terrific bonus, especially for early game. And each source of wheat, bananas, or deer that are worked by the city are going to give +1 food. And so that's why we saw that wheat tile transform from producing 2 food to producing 3 food. And this allows food to be moved from this city along a trade route inside your civilization. We'll talk about trade routes a little bit more in depth in a moment, but basically once you found that second, third city, if they're having a hard time growing, perhaps they're built in tundra where there isn't a lot of food, you can go ahead and ship food from your capital or whatever city to this struggling city via trade route. So a granary is a really important building to have if you want a city growing early in the game.
Definitely, yeah. And as we can see here, we can also see that there is a deer tile just out of reach of our city. So once we get that tile, then that deer is also going to get that bonus from the granary. So you'll see that 2 that it has right now jump up to 3. So we'll have another tile that's pretty equivalent to that wheat tile over there. So let's return to the map. And actually, I was thinking about something, because now that we can choose our production again, and we were talking about the Great Library, we can see it's going to take a long time to get that Great Library. But it's going to be really, really wonderful because it'll give us a free technology just right out of the gate. And so if we can get a huge jump in research, it might be worth holding off on some of the rest of our progress in other areas in order to go for that. But to really take advantage of that, you need to be getting a lot of production. And so one thing that I was thinking we would do is we'll go ahead and we'll put the Great Library into queue, and then we're going to buy a new tile. So when you have money saved up, you can see we have 79 gold saved up right now. And you can see that how we've been getting our income and what our expenses are there. You can see that we can actually buy new tiles. So we can spend our gold in order to get new tiles. Gold is a really versatile resource that we haven't talked about too much yet. But you know what? Let's go ahead and let's talk about the basics of gold. Rick, do you want to tell us a little bit more about what gold is and what gold does?
Yeah, I mean, gold is money. It's how you buy things, okay? So you need to be producing gold or else your city is going to suffer. Okay, so you want to always keep your head above water. You don't want to go into debt. Your luxury resources, those are going to give you a bonus to gold. So we can see that our marble and our truffles, the 2 luxury resources that we have access to, are going to give +2 gold. If we had gems, it would give +3 gold. And then strangely enough, there's gold, which gives +2 gold. Is that right?
Something like that, and then when you work it,
but then
it gives a little bit more.
silver gives +4 gold. So ironically, silver is the most valuable luxury resource in the game. But anyway, these are all going to contribute to the gold that you accrue turn by turn. And it's great because you can use this gold to buy tiles like Price has said. You can use this gold to purchase buildings or units.
Yeah, so let me actually go into the change production tab and see if I can. Yeah, I'll click on the purchase tile so people can see the cost. But yeah, go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, so you can purchase tiles. You see that we have 2 hills right outside of Warsaw. Those are going to be a huge boon to productions. There are 2 hammers each of those hills. So that's going to help us rapidly build this great library that we want to build. We can purchase those tiles outright instead of waiting to gain them via culture. We can also use gold to buy buildings or units. If we didn't want to wait 10, 15, 20 turns to build a unit or a building, we could just buy it outright if we had enough gold. So gold's a very valuable thing to have. Not to mention we can buy friendship or an alliance with a city-state via gold as well.
Exactly, and then that can be useful to getting more happiness, which is another issue that we're going to be facing here in a second. I'm going to go ahead and buy this tile here. So we see it's going to cost us 40 gold to buy this mine here. I'm not going to immediately put it into use because I'd rather get to around at least like a population of 4 before we start using that tile. But it's good to go ahead and get it just so we can kind of plan ahead on what we're going to have. And we see that actually revealed some tiles over here that might have a little bit more food output for us. So that's good to know. All right, and let's return to the map there. So yeah, happiness. That's another issue that we're going to face because as we can see, while we've been growing, our happiness has been slowly going down. And you can see that when I hover over this happiness icon over here, we can see we have a total global happiness of 9. So that's kind of the basic level of happiness you have based on your difficulty level. If you started on a lower difficulty level, you'll have a much higher base level of happiness. And then we have 6 total unhappiness currently being generated, specifically from the number of cities that we have and the population size. Rick, do you want to tell us a little bit more about happiness?
Yeah, happiness is crucial to keep a city growing. Once you start dipping into unhappiness, your cities take a hit on growth. Your cities are going to grow at a snail's pace. Your production's going to take a hit. It's you want to be happy. It's one of the most essential parts of keeping a thriving civilization growing. So we have access to truffles and marble currently, which are going to give us +4 happiness for each luxury resource. We just haven't worked them yet. So that's happiness in waiting. But it's worth mentioning that each luxury resource that you have, each unique luxury resource is going to give you +4 happiness, but they're not going to stack. So if we were to have 2 marble, access to 2 different marble tiles, we're only going to get happiness for 1 marble. These resources do not stack. So each unique luxury resource is going to give you +4 happiness.
Yeah, definitely. And that's really important to consider. And the thing is, if you dip below in happiness, like Rick said, you'll get a hit to your or your production and to your growth. And if you dip really, really low, so below -10, you're going to start having rebels appear in your territory. And so you're going to actually be constantly attacked by your own people, basically, because they're so unhappy. So you definitely want to avoid that like the plague.
Rebels take the form of barbarians, basically, which are spawned via your own cities.
And they're spawned right next to your cities.
It's a terrible thing. You never want to get below 10. You never want to get below 1, to be honest, but certainly not below 10.
So the other thing that we can do now is we can pick a new research, and as Rick was saying, we need to get some of these luxury resources online, because even though they're within our borders, we don't have access to them. We actually need to work them. So we're also going to need to get a worker. So I think our next social policy pop that we get, we're going to try and get a worker out of that. So what we can see here is that if we hover over the truffles, this requires trapping in order to get these online. And I think that that would be really, really good. Although the marble is going to give us a bonus to building wonders. And since we are trying to build the Great Library, it might be smarter to go that route and go for getting that marble online first. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go, see it says requires masonry. So we're going to go to our research tech tree. We're going to open the full tech tree, and we'll see that masonry is right here. It requires mining as the base research, and then on to masonry from there. So we're going to click on masonry, and as you can see, that actually queued it up. So we have mining first is going to be researched, and then that's going to be followed by masonry. And so that's going to give us, just let it go straight through so we don't have to micromanage, because we know exactly what we want. We want the ability to construct a quarry. That also means that roughly in 10 turns, we're going to want to have a worker so that we can start that quarry. And guess what? If we go up here and we hover over our culture, our next policy, we're going to be getting in 9 turns. So it's going to be right as we get that ability to put that marble online, we're going to be getting our next social policy so we can get that free worker and get him over there working that. So I think that's going to work out just fine.
Serendipitously.
Serendipity. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my unit that needs orders. We're going to send him back over to go and... Well, actually, let's just let him heal for a turn. And then we'll send him back over to finish off that barbarian encampment, I think. So let's get this next turn on the road. Okay. Nothing crazy popped up. Nothing that we need to really pay attention to. So, yeah, he's got enough health there. Let's head him back over that way.
Yeah.
And we'll start taking that guy out. Oh no, another barbarian spawned.
I knew it. I knew it.
All right, we're going to heal up again.
Just fortify.
Oh, how unfortunate.
That dum-dum.
Yeah, that sucked. That's okay. That's okay. I think if we keep fortifying, we should be able to
Yeah, you're in the
survive.
forest and you're fortified, so you've got bonuses.
Yeah, so the forest gives us a bonus from combat. And if we were to attack him, we also still have the bonus from being in open terrain. But you know what? I'm still a little worried about him getting hurt. So we're just going to leave him there healing. We have discovered mining. All right, we see that popped up. And then we see that masonry has already gone into the queue. So like I said, it's automatically going to push that tech straight through. And we see that the Great Library has 14 turns to complete. And we're going to get a new citizen in just a few turns. Okay. Next turn. All right. That other warrior ran off onto the hills. What a jerk. I think... Maybe, do you think we should kill the encampment first? And
I
then,
think so.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and end this so it stops spawning. Oh, and look at that. There are ruins over there. That is good to consider.
What on that? Oh, yes.
Behind a mountain over there.
Yeah, you're going to need to research sailing to get to that.
Yeah, because I think, we can't get past that mountain. Okay, well then let's hit next turn. And this guy got another upgrade. I have a feeling that barbarian is making a beeline for our city, so we're going to probably want to try and cut him off. We're going to go ahead and grab the next level of shock.
The good thing about the barbarian making a beeline is we don't have any improvements, so we can't destroy them, and our city can just bombard him until he dies.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to run the spearman straight back to the capital. Oh, and look, there's the barbarian right there. We'll see if he tries to attack us or if he tries to get ahead of us. Either way, we're stronger. We'll take him on. Oh, and there we see that our city can now actually bombard the barbarian. He is within 2 tile range of our city. So if we click this little target here, it gives us a range that our city can hit, and we can go ahead and target the barbarian. That'll bring him down a good amount. And then we can finish him off with our spearmen.
Check
it out. Yeah, and there we go. All right.
Nice.
Next turn. Let's bring this on. Okay, we've got the Great Library is going to finish in 8 turns. We've got 1 turn to learn Masonry, and we should get our next policy in 1 turn. So that'll be perfect. Let's fortify our Barbarian within our borders, because you get a bonus to healing. Masonry came online. We're going to adopt a policy, and we are going to grab Citizenship. So that's going to increase our construction rate and give us a free worker. And we're going to send this worker over to start trying to work that marble. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to choose our next research, and I think if that's going to complete in 7 turns, yes, perfect. Here's what we're going to do. This is a great little bonus that you can do. If we click on calendar, we see that that's going to complete in 6 turns. If we get the Great Library and it completes in 7 turns, right, we're going to be able to get our free tech to be philosophy, which is way out here. All right, this would take us normally 18 turns to get. We can jump and grab that for free. And this is going to give us a huge bonus to science, all right? We can build our national college, which is something you want to get online early on because it gives you plus 50% science and plus 3 science. And overall, it just gets us on the track towards getting a lot more research. And science is what wins games, all right? Having the higher technology is what you want. So we're going to start researching calendar. And
can build Oracle, too.
And you can build the Oracle, which gives us a free social policy. And we talked about social policies giving us those huge bonuses. If we can get the Oracle, and we're going to get our free social policy for playing as Poland and going into the new classical era, we're going to get a lot of policies. It's going to be fantastic. And then we'll come back around and we'll do animal husbandry so that we can construct a camp. So let's get calendar going, 6 turns, and let's start it off. Oh man, I hope that the AI doesn't snake this from us. Sometimes they'll steal a wonder from you just a few turns away. It's unfortunate.
That's why production is so critical to these wonders.
For sure.
If you're going to build a wonder, make sure that you are micromanaging production.
Or at least if you're playing on a higher difficulty. On lower difficulties, you're probably a little bit ahead, so you're going to be fine. But on the higher difficulties, your micromanaging is certainly a useful thing. And we're going to go ahead and start constructing a quarry. So you see we have a worker now. This is what we got from our social policy. And I've moved him onto the tile that has the marble. And you see that I can now construct a quarry. So what's this going to do? It's going to give that tile +1 production, and it's going to bring online the marble. And like we said before, marble gives a bonus to building wonders, so that's going to be fantastic. The other thing is it's going to give us that happiness, which we currently need because we're starting to decrease in our happiness overall. So it's going to take us 4 turns to finish that quarry. So let's go ahead and start that construction.
I think it's worth mentioning right now that you can automate your workers. You could even automate your spearmen to explore by just hitting either A for automate for your worker or E for explore.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and highlight this button here, this explore automated. Yeah,
absolutely. The workers should automatically work the luxury resource that's available. So if you were to automate your worker, it would automatically start mining the marble, which is just it's peace of mind. You don't have to micromanage your city. It can be exhausting when you have 10 cities and 50 workers, and God, it's overwhelming. Automating is a good thing, but you do need to micromanage them every now and then because they don't make the best choice every time.
For sure. Like this worker, if I set him to automate, there's a good chance he may have also tried to go and build a farm on top of the wheat. That's not a bad move to make. It's a really useful move, especially to get a lot of food going. But for what we know we're trying to do, we know that the marble is the one that we want the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, yeah, sometimes it's best to do it yourself, and sometimes it's best to automate them. And especially when you're first learning how to play the game, letting them go automated so you can get a more global understanding of the game is totally fine.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's start cycling through some turns here. As we can see, our spearman is continuing to heal, our worker is continuing to work on that tile, and everything is just on track. So let's cycle through again. We just got another tile here, so that's nice, and we're continuing to work through. All right, our spearman is now fully healed. We're going to start exploring. Let's go this direction. Let's do another turn. Okay. Let's go again. Okay, we see that we're going to complete the Great Lighthouse the Great Library in 2 turns. We have 1 turn to get a new citizen, and look, we got our quarry online. So now we have that additional production coming out of there. And it's not showing it here, but if I go into the Civilopedia, I can search for marble, and whenever you're curious about anything, you can click on that little help button and search for it. And here's what we need to know. Plus 15% production when building ancient and classical era wonders in the city where it has worked. So now we're getting that bonus as well, so we're going to get a bonus to production. For the Great Library, it's not a huge boon because we were already so close to being done with it, but when we start building that oracle, say, or if we start to build the pyramids, that's going to give us a huge boost to getting those done, probably a few turns early. Okay, so let's give our units some orders. Let's continue to explore in this direction. And what should we get online now? Let's go and build that farm. I think that would be a good move. And all right, we'll go to our next turn. And we did it. We did it. We finished calendar research, and the Great Library just got finished, so we can see that we have this orange tech thing here. And it says choose a free technology. So when we click on that, that shows us all the available techs that we could pick. And since we got calendar completed just in time, we're going to be able to get philosophy for free. So that is huge.
That's some good timing.
That is some fantastic timing.
Kismet.
The other thing that's great about getting that great library is that it also gave us just a regular library for free. So a library gives you +1 science for every 2 citizens in the city. So we got a huge boost to just our science output from that. Plus the great library itself gives us +3 science, +1 culture, some great scientist points, and some slots for great works of writing. This wonder is huge, and we got it. So we are on track to victory. And since we just got philosophy for free, guess what we got being Poland since we reached the classical era? We got a free social policy. So I think what we're going to do for that, we've got some happiness online. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get our settler. So we're going to click collective rule. That's going to give us a settler. And that has just spawned outside of our city.
How much happiness do we have right now?
We currently have 5.
Okay.
And so when you put a new city online, that's going to take us down 3 happiness plus another happiness for the new citizen. So we're going to need to make sure we get those truffles online before we really go for it with the next citizen. But I think that this is a good spot for us to stop again. So once again, I've been Price. I've been joined by Rick.
Yep.
And this has been some Stumpt Gaming Civ 5 basics. Thanks a bunch for watching. Like the video, favorite it please, give us a subscription, that would be wonderful. And check out the other stuff we have on the channel. And we will see you guys next time for some more Civ 5 basics.
Yeah, see you then. Thanks, guys.
Bye.